want to check and make sure this went live on YouTube, because that's been giving me issues lately. Seems alright. How you doing, Snipe? Welcome in. Finally connected to YouTube chat. Okay. Like Frankie's on the prowl for something. Hi, little monster. Hi, pretty girl. Hey Joel, how you doing? I do, Uther. It's on my Twitch side, but here, let me do this. I haven't linked it to YouTube. I probably should. Just give me a moment. Hey, model student. Let me just go to my channel. Let me pause that. Doop. 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 I don't know if this will show up for you in YouTube side. Doop. That's the link from the tip page on the Twitch side, but it should go to the same place. It's for my Streamlabs, Stream Elements. And it goes to my PayPal, so... I'd been thinking of editing the YouTube page to have that link in it, too. Come on. Alright, let's get the underside. So, I've been doing more research, and if you look, I found a picture of this thing wearing Desert Murdic. Or the modular camo, quite similar to how Model Student painted theirs, so they are not factually incorrect in that. So, at some point before 1984, so at some point in 1984, this vehicle, because one thing I noticed in the picture is this doesn't have the frame around the ammo, it's just in loops that are feeding in. That's the only difference I really noticed. So at some time in 84, this thing got repainted in overall forest green. I'm giving the Viper a day or two to cure. And Uther, if you do ever, if anyone ever donates anything through the link that I supplied, just let me know, because I don't think the alert will work very well. Unless it's done through Twitch. Maybe, I don't know. I've never tried it this way before. So what I'm doing, since this is a pre-factory vehicle, I'm painting it forest green on the underside and on the inside. And then we're going to paint the desert scheme on the outside. But yeah, I did another encore stream last night and slammed this together in 2 hours. That was interesting. Especially when the super glue decided to be not super. Uther, thank you very much for the tip.
You scared me
Every little helps. So it did work. Yeah, more like bleh, glue. My airbrush doesn't seem happy today either. So after this color, I'm going to give it a good clean just to make sure that it can do the camo nice and tight. Because it also looks like it was all sprayed on. It wasn't brushed on at any point. And some of the pre-production Humvees coming off the line in '84 were also wearing the NATO 3-color camouflage. So it was introduced then, but obviously pictures tell us another story. So this just goes to show that, especially when dealing with prototype vehicles, no one can ever be 100% correct. And I think I even said that, you know, I can only find a couple pictures, so there's nothing saying that it didn't wear that camouflage scheme. Let's get this cleaned out, get my action working better. Because something's really got it picky today. I'm going to post some pictures of it up on my Facebook and some of the modeling groups and just wait for that one person to come along and be like, Because I don't know how many people have seen this kit and gone, it doesn't have the ovals along the lower frame, it's not correct. Like, actually it is, because this particular body didn't have that. But I found a video from, I think it was Motorcraft or Motor Trend or one of those motor TV channels. They got to, you know, kind of poke around with the vehicles right before they were being introduced. And it showed this one, a 998 prototype, and the Commando one, the high-backed hardtop one, all splashing through puddles, but by this point they'd all been repainted in their solid forest green. Now, that's just the way I talk normally. Are you saying I sound like Dr. Evil? How you doing, George? Come on. Work, you bugger. Okay. There's my squeezy thing. I probably got to clean my needle. It's probably got a little bit of paint on it that's keeping it from sliding smoothly. We'll get there. Meanwhile, we got the little alien right here. Hi, girl. So, Uther, did that link work from the YouTube side chat, or did you have to go into Twitch and use it? Because if it works from here, I'll put one in my YouTube profile too. Let's lay down some sand. Oh, awesome. Cool. And that's what it should do. I swear this is sand, but it looks white. But it needs to be this lighter color. Probably because I'm spray painting over light, or I'm putting light paint over dark plastic is why it's doing that. But this is why I also don't like doing the black primer coats you see a lot of people do. Because you can see I'm having to go over it a little extra heavy to make sure I've got proper coverage and opacity. Probably gonna have to touch up a little bit on the interior. That's okay. Given it's a test bed vehicle, I don't think the interior is probably the greatest anyway. For the paint scheme, I'm just going to follow the Tamiya directions. I've only got the picture of the one side. And bet you dollars to donuts it wasn't a standardized scheme anyway. The video did show something cool though. It showed the robot painting process in the factory and how all the base camouflage patterns are the same because of it. I thought that was pretty neat. Let me see if I can find that video again. There you go. Yeah, that video had shown a few things about this vehicle's process that I knew, but I'd never really seen before. But in one of the clips, you'll see this in its forest green paint job in the background, splashing through some water. Still can't believe I built this in 2 hours last night. I've been building too many of these. Obviously, we'll be going back and picking out other details in like olive drab and things like that as they need to be. Just trying to get the base components done. I noticed in the picture the cameras for the remote turret were camouflaged. Well, if the wheels hadn't glued on finally, I would have probably crushed it. Oh, wait, that's not what you meant. Alright, let's get this cleaned out. I was actually out of sand paint, so I had to mix my own. Next we'll load up the dark brown. Since from what I can tell it's more of the gray desert scheme and not the red desert. So we're gonna go with that one. And I will have to thin this. I don't think I have any pre-thin to use. Or do I? I might... No, I don't want to use that. Mission Models has been really fucky lately. I do have mahogany. That might work better. I like that a bit better. Let's see how it sprays. It is a tad thick out the door. Cool. And mine just clogged up on me again. The action's free, but it's just still a little bit eh. There we go. That's better. Let me get this over here so I'm not twisting my head off trying to arrange it. The thing about that kit is a lot of people look at it as just a snap together, which it is. It's a snap together kit. They don't paint it, and the plastic is too blue. Just standard Duplicolor gray primer is the perfect color for it right out the gate. That's if you want to match how it looks on screen. But the key thing about airbrushing to anybody else who's just starting out or trying to figure it out, mistakes will happen. Fix it and move on. You know? Not every paint job's gonna be perfect. And you learn as you go. The people who have the most trouble when they airbrush are the ones that get frustrated and put it down. The ones that have the most luck are the ones that go, pick it back up and keep painting. And yes, airbrushes can have attitudes. Don't let anyone else tell you otherwise. No matter how well you clean it, there's going to be an airbrush that just goes, I don't want to work. And, well, guess what? You're stuck. Clean it again, and eventually it'll go, okay. Yeah. And that's one of the things about this hobby that I think that it gets kind of overshadowed these days. Is everybody thinks, oh, I can pick up an airbrush and a wet palette and some acrylics and I can paint like that too immediately. No. No. It takes persistence, it takes time. And it takes a want for the hobby. If you mess up and you put the model down immediately and say, this isn't for me, you know, if you bitch out about it, yeah, you're not gonna learn to enjoy the hobby. But if you say, oops, I made a mistake, oh well. Looks like I gotta learn what the hell I did wrong and not do it anymore, or do it less. And just keep going at it. Your models will get better. Your techniques will get better. And your enjoyment will get better. Maybe I should take my own advice and get off my ass and finally start working on that little graphic novel series I've got bouncing around in my head the past 5 years. I don't know, it's kind of a stupid idea, but it's got some merit in today's climate, I think. But since it worked for Uther, I'm going to post it back up here again. If anybody would like to support the channel, apparently this does work from here. Come on. There. I think I need to thin this out just a hair more, because I'm still getting a little bit too much tip dry too quickly. Let's see if that's better. And apparently today is not a good day to airbrush. But we did have a super cold night last night, so the air is ridiculously dry. And because it's so dry, or so cold, not that it's cold right now, the sun's out, my wife's turned up the heat in the house. Now it's acting too thin. Yeah, I'm just getting inconsistent spraying. Yep, and half that just went outside. I'm not having a good day again. We had to get up early and take the rental back from the accident, and my car really did not like having to get up and drive in 34-degree weather. She was cold, she was covered in ice, had to scrape the windshield. Getting a lot of inconsistency with the paint right now, and it's making me not happy. No, this is the loaner from the insurance agency while we were getting everything settled and getting Jen into a new car and all that fun shit. Oh, it's your tail. I'm like, what are you doing, cat? I just saw something keep moving out of the corner of my eye. I'm like, what is that? Yeah, I'm gonna have to go back with the sand and clean up some of these areas. I'm not happy with how they're coming along. Too many spatters, the overspray is a bit too harsh. Trek posters? Where? Oh, you mean, oh, those aren't posters. Here, I need to take a second anyway. Yeah, that's the original series Enterprise bipolar lights right there. The Defiant right there, and the 350th scale movie Enterprise. There's a Runabout and a Bird of Prey below it too. I just don't have batteries in those right now. And then there's a Mr. Spock standing in the corner behind the TOS Enterprise. Yeah, this is spattering way too much. Oh, the TOS one's easy, especially if you have the dedicated light kit for it. It's plug and play. The 350th scale one is where it gets scary, especially when you have to build the light set for it yourself because Round 2 never made one. But the refit is basically sold. I got a regular customer who's gonna buy some of these models off me. Hopefully soon. Just he's had his own things come up, so I'm not gonna push him or rush him. No, the way if you pull out the kit and look at it, the way they designed the TOS one, it is built like a brick shithouse. The ones that drooped were the original Ertl kit. That little, the 650th scale one. And behind me, to my right, which you really can't see, are the Katinga and Kronos 1 as well. I had Deep Space Nine lit and ready for paint, but while I was out of town on vacation, a little furry somebody, this one, thought it would be a good idea to jump up on the shelf where it was and knock it down. No, on the 350th scale TOS kit, nah, you're fine. Just build it. If you're not lighting it, just slam it together. Have fun. Make sure your seams are good. The lighting kit costs more than the model now if you can find it. The only reason I got it is because the model kit itself was gifted to me, which enabled me to be able to buy the light kit. And the only reason I haven't built the Reliant yet is because I don't want it getting destroyed when I move. It's another reason I'm selling the refit is, well, the refit and the TOS is, I don't know how well they're going to take to moving. I haven't had a lot of luck with Star Trek models and moving. Which means I'll be building another refit in the future. I don't know about the TOS one. It's a great model. I just don't really want to build one, you know? Not again. That's good. No, my Reliant kit that I've got the plastic one released by Ertl years ago and then redone by Round 2. So I've got that one. But I also have a 350th scale Reliant to go with the refit. And like I was saying, I haven't built it yet because that kit is essentially unobtainium. Nobody's making it. The person who released it originally isn't currently producing it, so if I were to build it and it got heavily damaged, I wouldn't be able to replace it. And it's a $600 fiberglass kit. So unless round 2 miraculously makes a plastic reliant in 3/50th scale, that's all there is. I'm gonna get the sand back out and retouch some of that. Once I can get my airbrush spraying cleanly. There we go. It did not like this paint. Whatever was in this brown, whatever the formulation is, it's Vallejo. But it did not want to thin well. We're going to run a bit of lacquer thinner through it just to be sure, because I really did not like that. Yeah, I don't know if you can hear that buzzing. That's the nacelles in the Enterprise, because they probably don't pick up well on the camera. But right there, the nacelles have those turning vanes in them, like the actual model from the 60s. I tried to mimic the look of the original at the Smithsonian after its most recent repair. Yeah, you thought those were posters? Try and just tighten it back up, get rid of some of the overspray. The hazard you run into here is you can make the darker color look dusty if you're not careful. But I can even go over some of those dustier points with the black and the dark yellow during the crow's foot stage. But I hope everybody's having a good day, a decent Monday. I will try my best to be back on Thanksgiving Day, so Thursday. We'll see, though. As usual, I'm on turkey duty, so I'll be taking frequent breaks to go baste the turkey every 20 minutes or so. There's that. Yeah, the sand I've got thinned to perfection, apparently. My workbench was an absolute mess after yesterday, too, so I needed a minute today to clean it up. Alright. Actually, let's start with the dark yellow crow's feet. I might have just enough left. I hope. I think I've got another jar of it just in case. If I notice I'm getting a lot of unusual spattering, I'll hone the needle a little bit. but generally no, I just leave them alone. Because if I'm getting unusual spattering, it means I may have nicked the tip while I was putting it back on. Or something weird like that. But overall, I just watch my paint mix and make sure it's good and sufficient. Yeah, you gotta kind of be careful when you watch certain people who talk about the hobby. There's a lot of stuff going around lately that's just superfluously stupid extra crap. Like the latest fad of peeling the film off of certain manufacturers' decals. And every time I see somebody do it, I'm like, yeah, I get what you're doing because you're trying to reduce the decal film thickness, but now you've also peeled up patches of the color and the decal now looks like shit regardless. You know, there's always some latest craze or fad, and you really gotta see which ones are worth doing and which ones are pointless. And yeah, I think airbrush needle polishing was one of those more recent fads. Where if your needle is smooth to the touch, like if you can roll it and drag it on your finger and not feel any aberrations, it's fine. But if you're rolling it and dragging it, and you feel a slight burr at the tip, then it probably wouldn't hurt to hone it a little bit. I've had to do it in the past, and I'll just do it on some, like, I don't know, like 1200, 2000 grit micro mesh. And what I do is I'll put it on here, squirt it with some Windex or whatever just to keep it lubricated, and just twirl and drag it, not applying any pressure, but just enough to let it catch and polish out. Because if you apply pressure, you could easily bend the needle the other way, and you don't want to do that either. Just like how a few years ago, you had all the Iwata snobbery going around. You don't know how to airbrush unless you have an Iwata. At the time, what I saw was Iwata was rebranding and repackaging a lot of other people's shit. So, hard to have faith in a brand that does that and tries to play off that it doesn't. Alright, let's load up the black gray. Do the final crow's feet, and then we'll decal it. Or not decal it, but we'll clear coat it and get it ready for decals. And while that's drying, we can work on the other one, the stinger. I want to bust out the oil wash on that. Pluck out some details, then dull coat that after I oil wash it, and we'll start on picking out more details, especially in the engine bay. I was going to say, as long as you take good care of your stuff, it'll work. Just be very careful, especially when you're gluing, or not gluing, screwing the tip on. If possible, back your needle off when you screw your tip on. And then, once the tip's on all the way and secure, then advance your needle until it just gently stops, tighten down your retainer, and you're good. Because if you have the needle too far forward and locked in, or if you push it too hard, you could also split your tip, which can cause other spray pattern aberrations. But even, I can tell mine's spraying fine even just from looking at the mist pattern. It's straight, it's an even cone. Pretty girl. Hi, Allie. You like having your box there, huh? Yeah? I've always been a Badger person myself. When I was a kid, my parents got me a Aztec. So, when it came to airbrushing, I really learned the hard fucking way. Aztec is one of the worst airbrushes you could ever own. The idea was interesting, that you could have different size tips for different procedures that you could swap in and out. But the execution was poor. Because they had fine tips, they had coarse tips, broad tips, spatter tips, you know, they had a whole bunch of stuff going. Problem is, you could never find the damn tips. Even in the good hobby shops that you bought the airbrush at originally. And you couldn't buy them through testers, because at the time testers was going through their own crap, and suddenly didn't exist. Sorry if I went quiet all of a sudden, I'm just trying to concentrate. No worries. Yeah, we were talking about the Tester's Aztec craze of the 90s. What a failed experiment that was. I'm following the instructions very loosely on this. Yeah, the nozzles are plastic. You were only supposed to flush them out to clean them. You couldn't do anything more in depth than that, which was one of its real Achilles heels. I was either stupid or brave or both, but I would always just yank it out and gently clean out inside, and I got them to work. But yeah, the Aztec series airbrushes were utter shit. Then our commander gave me my first Badger, and I was hooked after that. The only reason I haven't really sent that back in for reconditioning is, given all the issues, it might turn into a grandfather's axe situation. And I don't want to lose the originality of it. Actually, I should have kept that loaded and done the chassis. Get that out of the way. I'm much happier with these Panzer Art wheels. That's the thing, Uther, like, you know how, like, okay, you inherit Grandpa's axe, you keep using it. Years down the road, the handle breaks. You're thinking, no big deal. I've replaced the handle. Still got the head. A few more years down the road, the head's worn out. So you replace the head. Is it still the same axe that your grandfather gave you? In this case, you know, there's so many things that are worn out, and Badger supposedly has this lifetime service thing for their airbrushes. Would I be getting my airbrush back, or would they just send me a new one of the same type because it's too far gone? And it's not the fact that it works or not. It's the sentimental value to that particular airbrush. You guys have heard me call it the Warhorse, and for good reason. I wish I could travel around and do mural work like I did at the 492nd for other units. That would kind of be cool. Nothing huge, but you know, simple unit level stuff for morale purposes in the hallways and things like that. The hell? What was that? Probably just scam colors. I know I touched one of the wheels on the outside surface, so I'm just giving him a fresh coat. Alright, got that done. I'll get the oil washes out and we'll start working on this bad boy, plucking out the details. But before we do that, I want to take my move around break. It's been an hour and a half. Still can't believe I slammed this together in 2 hours last night. Yeah, they're definitely a labor of love. The Defiant has some interesting stuff going on with it. The only lights that are actually protruding through the hull are the ones on the underside. Everything else, I'm using the actual plastic of the kit as a diffuser to make them glow more. So, like the red nacelles on the front aren't clear. They're actually the plastic painted clear red with LEDs behind them. And like I said, that allows the plastic to act as a diffuser, so you don't get that really tight hot spot that LEDs can cause. Yeah, it's in my shorts too, if you want to scroll through that and find it. Because I always see people when they light a model, they try and put the LED directly in the window or directly in the engine or whatever it is they're lighting. Unless it's a Star Wars model like an X-Wing, you want it actually like indirectly illuminating it. You want it bouncing. Because LEDs themselves are just insanely bright when you have the pinpoint showing. And for the scale effect, you don't want that. Start small, start simple. And depending on what it is, LED strip light is a godsend. Oh, we getting an alley stretch? Yeah, we getting an alley monster stretch? Yeah. Yeah. There you go. Good girl. Yeah, the first model, I mean, I've lit a few models over the years, but the first one I lit and felt confident in the end result was the travel pod that I lit up. It's sitting behind the refit. You can't see it from here. Problem is, the light strip I used was the type where it's kind of sealed under a clear plastic. Don't use that stuff. That clear plastic makes them heat up. Is that clear? That's the clear gloss. Yeah, the only thing I don't really get into is all the blinkies. I'm happy if they're just lit. But yeah, let's take our moving brake, and then we'll touch up where the overspray got on the inside, and we'll clear coat it, and then work on this bad boy. So put the pause screen up and be right back. I have returned. Gonna change up the music a bit though. This one's already repeating. Let's try that one. Okay. You gonna get back in your box? Okay. Oh, you want desk time. Let me clear you a spot. So, there you go. Or you're not doing the camera creep again, are you? Okay, you're being good and staying off the camera. Oh, watch that tail of yours, girl. You're gonna knock stuff off the table with that. That's another reason I like Badger. Most of their seals are replaceable. Only going after what I can see. I'm not worried about anything back here because you really won't be able to see it. We're going to do some high contrast dry brushing in there though, I think. Because I want the monitors and controls to pop in there. Oopsie. Overall though, this kit is pretty good. Mostly correct straight out of the box. There's 3 ways you could paint it. And not be wrong. I take it it's kind of a press in, press out bearing. So if you have the right size drill bit, you can kind of pop it. He's walking the dog and watching on his phone. Alright, let's gloss this bad boy, and then, like I said, we'll get the oils out and work on this one. And it shows you how the modular camo is supposed to work. Maybe I should have based my brown on that one's pattern, because there is a standardization with that. Pretty girl. Yeah. Don't you act all tired. When I was taking my break, you got up and got on the back of the chair and walked around the desk. You big faker. Guess I should have painted the seats first, but that's alright. It doesn't really matter. That's better. Yeah, that paint went on dry as hell. This gloss is just getting sucked right up into it. Whoopsie. Told you guys it was a dry day today as far as the air. What the gloss coat does, especially if I'm using oil washes, or any washes really, it seals the texture of the paint. So if you're going for something like a detail wash or a pin wash, you can remove excess and it won't stain the paint too deeply. Whereas if I was just to put it over the flat paint, it would soak right in and permanently stain the paint. Which, depending on what you're trying to accomplish, that can be a desired effect. So like, after I do the detail wash, or commonly known as a pin wash, I flat coat it, and that's when I do things like my dust effects, my fuel stains, any kind of staining or weather related stuff comes out of that. But for just general detail work, you want to gloss it before you wash. But everybody has their own individual way of doing it. Find what works for you. Sometimes it takes more than one coat to get a good seal though too, because I think I went on a little dry. As opposed to yesterday where it was a little more humid out. Looks like Ko-Fi. Not Ko-Fi. Caster Labs just had a weird hard reset on me. Right now I'm using Createx UVLS Clear. This stuff goes on really well. It does need a little bit of thinning, but overall it goes on really well. And it dries really thin. Pet the kitty. Pet the kitty. Yeah, at least give the tires a coat. The clear also helps protect the paint from any of your weathering processes later on. Just gives it a nice safety layer. It's falling apart. No, it's not even glued together. Yeah, the only thing I haven't tried with this stuff yet is dipping a canopy in it. I think it might be a little too thick for that. I still have my liquid floor finish for that kind of stuff. Yeah, last night was, it was weird. Kind of got a bug up my ass, and that's why I did the encore. Just got tired of seeing the box. Autofocus shut off again? Have I been blurred this entire time? Autofocus was on, but it was locked at 50. There we go. Looks like it's just having a bad day. That's better. Having some weirdness with the needle again. Pull it back. Looks like it's time for the lacquer thinner, but we're almost done with the airbrush portion of today's viewing, aside from putting the matte coat on, but that might be kind of an end of stream kind of thing. We're going to be working with artist oils next. There we go. Whatever it was didn't want to stand up to the lacquer thinner. Which drawer did I have these in? There they are. I think this is burnt umber, but the label's gone off of it. That's burnt sienna. I feel very disorganized today. More than usual. How's that? For anyone out there thinking, well, he's usually disorganized anyway. Yeah, this is more than usual. Don't need yellow. Why did I even get that out? A little bit of burnt umber. The straight black would just be too strong. Mix in a little bit of burnt umber and it just looks like greasy, oily dirt. Warms it up a bit. If you notice, I haven't painted any of the headlights yet either. All the lights I saved for after the detail wash, but before the weathering. So as the vehicle gets dirty, so do the light lenses. And there's no real magic to the mix either. You just thin it to where you feel it flows well. Not so thick that you're essentially repainting with it, but thick enough the color stands out when you put it along the edge of a detail. And you can be sloppy with it too. Don't worry about being too neat, especially if you've got the good clear coat on. And you'll see when we go to clean this one up. We'll use that as an example. And also, for anyone building Humvees, They don't rust. No rust on the hood, no rust on the bodies. They are made of aluminium, so they don't rust. The frame can rust, so if you're doing this up, yeah, you can have some rust on the frame and stuff here and there. But the bodies don't rust, so don't do the streaky, rusty shit that you see other people do. I need a bigger brush. Even the way I'm applying it, it doesn't look like I'm leaving a lot. I am leaving a dirty enough film on the model that when we go to clean it up, you'll see the rest in the recesses. Sorry, I had an itch in my ear. Also hoping a wash in here will help me pluck out other details a bit easier when we go to that stage of the painting. See how the hood's drying out really well. I just remembered I'll have to go get some Q-tips. Yeah, a lot more of this is going to be done with the sand and the dust stuff that I got from Vallejo. Not so much this. This just helps pluck the shadows out really well. Allie, what's the matter? Yeah, this I have to let dry for a while. This clear coat likes to have about It likes to have more than 12 hours to cure. It stays gummy until then. And when the paint's still gummy, the wash grabs a little too well. Yep, oil wash. Just for like the pin wash and general detailing. Once this is done, we'll flat coat it and then go back to the weathering effects. What, kitty cat? Hmm? I actually had somebody ask in one of the shorts if this was the version that the Ukraine is currently using. I'm like, nope. This is a what if that Italy made up in the 80s, and that the Ukrainians just happened to be using a two-stinger system that looks a little bit like it. But it is not the same. If you Google Stinger Humvee, you'll find pictures of the Ukrainian system. And then you'll find a lot of the Avenger Humvee with the actual turret with the launchers on it. Yep. It's a butter tub lid. Or, in this case, cream cheese. I mean, I guess I could go out and buy a bunch of, cardboard and cut it into strips and sell them in packs of 5 as linseed oil absorbent strips for when you go to do your oil washes. You can squeeze your oil out on it and then let the cardboard soak up the excess linseed oil, because that's what it's for. And then profit. I'm surprised Meg hasn't done it already. Or Ammo, or whatever name he's going by, that's a former Soviet-owned business slash weapons manufacturer slash whatever. Let me pause real quick, though. I need to go get some Q-tips, and I'll be right back. what does ammo do now? I don't know, I don't follow them. Only what gets thrown in my face from, you know, different online advertisers. And congratulations on the success with the Sotar. But yeah, I've seen ammo, MiG, AK, acronym man, hobby acronym man. We'll just call it that. How's that? Trying to get into the sci-fi anime scene with their mecha range paints and stuff. It just strikes me as trying too hard. Hence my joke about making strips of cardboard and selling them for $10. Call them just elite oil absorption pads for when you're doing your oil washes. Having to be very careful around this grill because the Q-tip could catch on the corner and lift it. You see, kitchen roll is too thin. It doesn't absorb right. You specifically need cereal box cardboard. If you want to get really fancy, you can use corrugated. But cereal box cardboard would work fine. So you see the difference here as opposed to there? I'm trying to use the same color green to give that. And that's probably still a little too strong, so you can always just go that way with it too. Clean out the notch a little bit. And this is just to give the details a subtle plucking. Because you're going to be going back over this with your dust and dirt stuff anyway. It just helps to add a little bit of shadow and depth to the details that are already there. Don't you steal my idea now. I've got this recorded stream saying that, you know, I thought of it first. But I'm not kidding though. Some people have become so bougie in this hobby, you could literally sell them cardboard at an increased price and they would gladly buy it. Yes, absorb your linseed oil like the pros do, like Night Shift. Where's Night Shift from, anyway? He's a good guy. I like him. But, you know, you could say this is made from legit, like, say he's from Poland, you know, just a random Eastern European country. We have to get Polish cardboard and do it right. Everybody's here. The model student can have a good, productive day today because his entire social circle has just arrived. I'm kidding. Are you saying he's Transylvanian? Yeah, we've been working on Humvees again. Another reason I'm starting to kind of kick through these and just saying forget it for the one a month till I get mine is it's going to be forever till I get mine at this rate. And there's not enough variation out there for me to justify spending certain amounts of dollars on certain kits. I'll probably get more down the line, but like the ICM ones, they'd just be a repeat of this one and the Cargo 998. And that really only leaves me with the Academy one to finish up, the 1151. I could get the Tamiya 1025. I haven't done that particular one yet. And the Bronco 1114, but that's really it. I'd be out of legit different Humvee variants by then, and I'd start doing doubles again. Well, I'm having fun doing it, but I just kept staring at the box on my shelf going, come on, I bet I could do that. I bet I could do it. So yesterday I did, and in 2 hours the whole thing was built, because I did nothing special to it. Yeah, the Viper, I put the clear coat on that a little thick. I'm giving that an extra day. I might try and decal it between tomorrow and Wednesday. And we can start doing washes and weathering and final detailing on Thursday. So that might be our Thursday model. Turkey Day, turkey build. And yes, turkeys can fly. All right. But you can see how just the oil wash has put a light shadow around all the details, right? Of course, autofocus is going to betray me right now. Come on. Oh, you bastard. Really? So autofocus is on strike today. Oh, I know. We got wild turkeys up in some of the areas around Ogden. You go up there at night, and the trees are just alive because their balance is so bad. But yeah, they're all over the place. Over the years, there's been a kind of like a punk flock that's been going around Ogden and just harassing neighborhoods and cars. It started out as like 3 or 4 turkeys during COVID, and now it's like an entire generational flock of like 13. Going a little extra heavy with the black wash on the dials and the radio faces. But we can come back and, again, pop some of those out with some light dry brushing. Let that dry. The freakiest thing I saw where I used to work, there was a golf course across the street, and I saw a deer against the fence one day. I'm like, what the fuck? And this is in the winter too, so the deer come down from the mountain to eat because all the food in the mountain's been gone for a while. And it didn't want to leave the fence. I even walked up to it and it didn't want to leave the fence. I'm like, something ain't right. Then I looked up. It looked like a German Shepherd, like a well-fed German Shepherd. It was a coyote. And then I looked again, just kept facing him, just slowly started backing off. There was another one. The deer took off down the fence line, and 4 coyotes in total were chasing after it. And I went and told the guy who maintained the place, because he was still there taking care of the equipment and stuff. I said, yeah, you're going to find a deer carcass down by that hole come springtime, because we had strong snow in the forecast and stuff, so it was going to be buried by the time he got around to being out there. And sure enough, next spring he comes up and goes, yep, I found it right where you said. Those coyotes tore it to shreds. Please tell me that missed the paint. Looks like it did. So I didn't gloss underneath the hood because I wanted to let that have a more greasy feel when I washed it, and that's exactly what's happening. Oh yeah, they're all over the place out here, and you can actually get licensed to hunt them. I think they're like $25 a head right now. Ours out here talk more like wolves and other dogs. They're more vocal in that. They're not like hyenas like you just described. They're more howly. Photo etch plate in here came out really well. Ooh, it almost had it. It almost wanted to focus properly. Oh, nope. Nope, we broke the autofocus again. Let's see, just put it, there we go. You can kind of see how there's like just like a dirty grime around everything. That's kind of what we're going for. Flat coat, where did I put you? There it is. I'm gonna need more soon. Down to a quarter of a bottle. I gotta get to Hobby Lobby and get more. Unless there's a larger bottle than this on Amazon. I know they make the big bottles. I'll have to look. Nice and dead flat now. Do it. Do it. Do it now. But wait, you have to get to the chopper. I was actually tinkering with my Mi-24 the other day. Still a bit to do before I can close up the fuselage, though. And those fast attack vehicles have a little bit of leeway to them, too. They're not... like, they are standardized, but not as strictly adhered to. I think that's good for right now. We may have another encore stream tonight. It depends on how this cures and how I'm kind of feeling. I did get on earlier today, didn't I? Yeah, about half an hour earlier. Yeah, we're coming up on the 2-hour, 45-minute mark. But we got a lot done. We got this one completely painted. This one washed and dull-coated. Either way, something's getting weathered Thursday, if I stream. If not, I might do something Wednesday night. Just keep an eye on notifications if I come on at some other weird point. You know, don't be glued to your phone, obviously, but keep an eye out. There's not much else I can do right now. I might go clean out the water dish, give the desk a really good organize, since between that Humvee, the Viper, and some other figure work, it's been kinda messy. I need to finish up that one figure we'd already been working on from Gate. I got another one from Zenless Zone Zero that I need to paint up. Got an itch on my back. Yeah, overall I'm pretty happy with how this progressed. Just making sure this is cleaned out so I don't get another stuck needle. If I do get back on, it probably won't be until about 6 or 7 p.m. my time anyway. And I'm not even too sure on that. Playing it by ear. Just trying to enjoy my odd 2-day off weekend. Maybe I'll take the M113 out back and get it dirty in the dirt. If I have any left. It's kind of gotten overgrown. Yeah, we had a pretty fair bit of progress today, you're right. And this one that I thought I'd keep simple has really turned into a beast of its own. And the other one I thought would be a beast has turned out to be really simple. Yeah. So I'm trying to plan out the next one I'm going to work on. I'm thinking more progress on the alien hind. And most likely either I want to say the LAVR, maybe the Striker, or possibly the bombed out Tiger. It depends on how much I want to do on it. I don't want to say bombed out, but abandoned. Because that abandoned Tiger is going to be part of a larger project. But yeah, so I'll hopefully see you Thursday, if not before then. And everybody take it easy, have a good